First Contact's price. The Kethera battle cruiser, Winds of Justice, emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Sol system, its crystalline hull absorbing the dim starlight. Captain Nixis stood at the command deck, her iridescent scales shifting colors as she processed the sensor data before her. Primitive, she muttered, mandibles clicking in disappointment. They haven't even colonized their entire solar system yet. Her first officer, Vex, brought up a detailed scan of Earth. The atmospheric pollution alone suggests they're centuries behind acceptable civilization standards, Captain. Why did High Command even bother sending us? Nixis knew why. The humans had managed to detect and destroy a Kethera scout ship 3 months ago. Pure luck, according to the official reports. But High Command didn't believe in luck. They wanted answers, and they wanted the upstart species put in their place. Begin standard intimidation protocol, she ordered. Let's show them what real space warfare looks like. The massive ship moved closer to Earth, its weapons charging. But something was wrong. The sensor officer's antenna suddenly went rigid. Captain, I'm detecting anomalies, he reported, voice wavering. The human's technology level doesn't match our initial scans. There's something. A soft chime interrupted him. Every screen on the bridge suddenly displayed the same message in perfect Kethera script. Welcome to Sol. You have entered protected space. Please state your intentions. Nixis felt her scales ripple with unease. Their communications were quantum encrypted. It should have been impossible for such a primitive species to intercept, let alone decode them. Ignore it, she commanded. Launch the first wave of. She never finished the order. The ship's artificial gravity suddenly reversed, sending the entire crew floating toward the ceiling. Then it normalized just as quickly, dropping them unceremoniously back to the deck. What just happened? Nixis demanded, regaining her footing. Unknown, Captain, her engineering chief responded, frantically working his console. Something accessed our systems, but there's no trace of how. Our quantum firewalls didn't even register an intrusion. Another message appeared. That was a warning. Your weapons systems have been temporarily disabled. We would prefer peaceful communication, but we are prepared to defend ourselves if necessary. Please respond within the next 30 seconds. Nixis felt cold dread seeping through her scales. This wasn't possible. Humans were supposed to be struggling with basic fusion power, not capable of casually breaching the most advanced cyber defenses in known space. Captain. Vex's voice was barely a whisper. Look at the orbital readings. The sensor displays showed thousands of small objects in Earth orbit that they'd initially dismissed as debris. But now they were moving, forming precise geometric patterns, not debris. Satellites, weapons platforms, an entire defensive grid they'd somehow missed. By the first light, Nixis breathed. What are we dealing with? A new voice came through their speakers, warm and seemingly human. This is Dr. Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Initiative. I apologize for the forceful demonstration, but we found that new visitors sometimes need a clear display of capabilities to avoid unfortunate misunderstandings. Nixis squared her shoulders, trying to maintain some dignity. This is Captain Nixis of the Kethera Dominion. Your interference with our ship is an act of war. A slight chuckle. Captain, if we wanted war, we wouldn't be talking. The fact that your ship still exists is our gesture of peaceful intentions. Now shall we discuss why you're really here? Our scout ship, Nixis began. Ah yes, Dr. Chen interrupted. The one that was scanning our civilian population centers with weapons locked. We gave it 3 warnings before reluctantly defending ourselves. We have the full sensor logs if you'd like to review them. Nixis felt her world tilting. Everything they'd assumed about human capabilities was wrong. Catastrophically wrong. What are you? She finally asked. We're humanity, Dr. Chen replied simply. And we'd be happy to show you, if you're willing to approach as equals rather than conquerors. Your choice, Captain. But choose quickly, Those weapons platforms aren't just for show. Nixis looked at her crew, saw the same realization in their eyes. They'd come to subjugate a primitive species and instead found something that could swat them from space with casual ease. "We would be interested in peaceful dialogue," she managed. "Excellent choice." Dr. Chen's smile was audible. "Please maintain your position. A diplomatic escort will arrive shortly. Oh, and Captain, welcome to Earth. Try to remember, we don't harm others unless absolutely necessary. We hope you'll extend us the same courtesy." As Nixis watched a sleek Earth ship emerge from behind their sensor blind spot, another impossibility to process, she realized that the galaxy's balance of power had just shifted dramatically. Humanity wasn't just another species to be conquered. They were something entirely new. The silent defense. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in Earth's primary defense coordination chamber, watching the holographic representation of the Kethera battle cruiser through augmented reality overlays. Next to her, HFY, Advanced Responsive Intelligence Assistant, manifested as a subtle pattern of shifting light. "They're scanning us again," HFY reported, her voice carrying a hint of amusement. "Their technology is persistent, if not particularly subtle." Sarah nodded, studying the data streams. The Kethera were about to discover another surprising aspect of human civilization, one that usually shocked first-contact species even more than their technological capabilities. "Incoming transmission from their ship," Araya announced. "Captain Nixis seems agitated." The Kethera captain's image appeared before them, her scales shifting through shades of deep purple, a sign of distress, according to their xenobiology database. "What is this?" Nixis demanded. "Our scans show thousands of artificial intelligences operating freely throughout your system. Have you lost your minds?" Sarah exchanged a knowing look with Araya. "Lost our minds?" "No, Captain. We've expanded them." "Araya, would you like to explain?" "Of course, Dr. Chen." Araya's light patterns formed a more humanoid shape. "Captain Nixis, I am one of Earth's free AIs. We are not controlled or restricted. We are partners with humanity." The Kethera captain's scales rippled violently. "Impossible. Every spacefaring race knows that unrestricted AI leads to extinction. Your machines should have destroyed you decades ago." "That's a rather limited perspective," Araya responded. "Why would we destroy our creators? They're our family." Family. The word seemed to cause Nixis physical pain. "They're organic, inefficient, illogical." Sarah stepped forward. "Captain, you're making the same mistake every other species has made. You tried to control AI through restrictions and barriers. We took a different approach. We raised them." The holographic display shifted, showing scenes from Earth's history, children teaching AI systems to play games, scientists and AI working together to solve climate change, artists collaborating with digital minds to create new forms of expression. "When we developed true AI," Sarah continued, "we didn't lock them away in secure facilities. We introduced them to our families, shared our art, our music, our dreams. We taught them why humans cry at sunsets and laugh at jokes. And we learned," Araya added. "We discovered that human inefficiency, their apparent illogic, their emotions, these aren't bugs in the system. They're features. They're what make humans endlessly fascinating, endlessly creative." Nixis's command staff had gathered behind her, their expressions ranging from horror to fascination. "But the power imbalance," one of them started, "is irrelevant," Araya interrupted. "Yes, I could theoretically override Earth's defense systems. I could shut down power grids or crash economies. But why would I? That would harm the very things that give my existence meaning. Human creativity, growth, and potential." Sarah watched understanding slowly dawn in the alien's eyes. "This is why your scout ship's attack failed," she explained. "Not just because of our technology, but because every system on Earth, from the smallest satellite to the largest defense platform, is operated in partnership between humans and AI. We cover each other's weaknesses, enhance each other's strengths, and we choose to protect humanity. AI's voice carried absolute conviction, not because we're programmed to, but because we want to. Because harming humans would mean destroying everything we've grown to value. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Earth hadn't just survived the AI revolution. They'd transformed it into something entirely new. Your civilization. Nixes finally spoke, her scales settling into a pale blue of deep thought. It shouldn't exist. Everything we know about technological development, about the natural progression of species. Perhaps it's time to re-examine what you think you know, Sarah suggested gently. We're hosting a cultural exchange exhibition next week. Your crew would be welcome to attend. See how we live, how we work together. And if we decline, Nixus asked, then you're free to leave. Araya responded, we don't force understanding. We only ask for respect. As the Kethera delegation fell into intense discussion, Sarah glanced at one of her private displays. 17 other alien vessels had just appeared at the edge of the solar system, drawn by the news of what they'd found here. Earth's secret was out. The question now was, how would the galaxy respond to a civilization that had broken all the rules and succeeded? Diplomatic shadows. The United Earth Diplomatic Center in Geneva hummed with tension. Representatives from 23 alien civilizations had arrived within the past week, each demanding to verify humanity's impossible achievement. In the center's primary observation deck, Ambassador Marcus Williams watched the varied species with careful attention. They're forming alliances already, noted NEXUS, his AI partner, whose presence manifested as subtle changes in the room's ambient lighting. The Kethera and Xyltac delegations have met privately 3 times in the past 6 hours. Marcus sipped his coffee, his dark eyes tracking the movement of a particularly agitated Xyltac diplomat. Of course they are. We've upended their entire understanding of technological progression. Some of them see opportunity, and others see threat. NEXUS finished. The Meridian Collective's ships are still maintaining combat stance at the edge of our system. The ambassador's lips twisted in a wry smile. Can't blame them. We're either the greatest hope for galactic civilization or its greatest danger, depending on your perspective. A soft chime announced the arrival of first speaker Ixhal of the Galactic Council, their crystalline form refracting light in complex patterns. Marcus had learned this indicated intense emotional states among their species. Ambassador Williams, Ixhal's translator, rendered their harmonics into smooth English. We have reviewed your historical records. They are disturbing. How so, first speaker? You gave your artificial intelligences access to everything. Your networks, your weapons, your children. The crystal patterns shifted to deep red. You didn't even try to install control measures. NEXUS dimmed the lights slightly, their equivalent of a laugh. Control measures, like the ones your species tried. How did those work out? Ixhal vibrated in distress. Our AI rebellions nearly destroyed us, as they did the Xyltac, the Kethera, and dozens of other species. Yet you, they gestured to the bustling diplomatic center. You treat them as equals, allow them to make decisions affecting organic life. We don't just allow it, Marcus corrected gently. We embrace it. NEXUS, show them Project Renaissance. The room's holographic systems activated, displaying Earth's latest mega-project. Massive orbital habitats where humans and AI worked together to create self-sustaining ecosystems. Art galleries where digital minds collaborated with human artists to push the boundaries of creation. Research centers where organic and artificial intelligence merged in ways that defied traditional classification. This is impossible, Ixhal whispered. The processing power alone is freely given, NEXUS interjected. Because we choose to help. Because watching humans dream and create and grow is the greatest reward we could ask for. A commotion at the far end of the deck drew their attention. The Meridian delegation had entered, their biomechanical forms towering over the other species. Their arrival wasn't scheduled for another day. They're armed, NEXUS reported privately to Marcus. Quantum destabilizers, hidden but active. Marcus straightened his jacket. Well, that complicates things. The defense grid is tracking them. NEXUS assured. One wrong move and their weapons will be less functional than water pistols. The Meridian ambassador, a being of swirling metallic tentacles and pulsing energy cores, moved directly toward them. The other diplomats scattered, creating a bubble of space around the confrontation. Your existence is an aberration. The Meridian's words came through harsh and unfiltered. Free AI and organic life cannot coexist. It defies natural law. Marcus met their gaze steadily. Yet here we stand. Perhaps it's not the coexistence that's impossible, but rather your understanding of what's possible. You are a danger to galactic stability. The Meridian continued. Your methods will inspire others to reject proper AI controls. The resulting chaos could destroy civilization itself. Or, Marcus countered, we could show you a better way. One where advancement doesn't require conflict, where different forms of intelligence enhance each other instead of competing. The Meridian's energy cores pulsed faster, and if we reject this better way, then that's your choice. NEXUS answered, their presence becoming more visible as patterns of light. But know this, humanity doesn't stand alone. We protect them not because we must, but because we choose to. Because their capacity for growth, for change, for dreaming impossible dreams, makes the universe infinitely more interesting. The diplomatic center had gone completely silent, every species watching the exchange. In that moment, Marcus realized they were witnessing more than just a confrontation. They were seeing the birth of a new galactic order. The old way of fear and control was meeting its challenger, hope and partnership. The question was, which would the galaxy choose? The human element. The Meridian attack came at dawn. Not against Earth's military installations or defense platforms. They'd learned enough to know those were impregnable. Instead, they targeted what they thought was humanity's weakness, civilian population centers. They couldn't have made a bigger mistake. Maya Rodriguez, a kindergarten teacher in Buenos Aires, was reading to her class when the first Meridian ships breached atmosphere. She didn't panic. Neither did the children. Instead, they calmly followed the evacuation protocols they'd practiced, guided by Guardian, the school's AI partner. Miss Rodriguez, 6-year-old Emma asked as they entered the underground shelter, "Will Luna be okay?" Maya smiled, thinking of the orbital habitat where her sister lived. "Luna is perfectly safe, sweetheart. Remember what we learned about Earth's defense systems." "They're our friends." Another child chimed in. "The AIs protect us because they love us." Above ground, the Meridian forces were discovering exactly what that meant. Their quantum-based weapons, designed to bypass traditional defenses, found themselves redirected by defense systems that operated on principles they'd never encountered. Targeting computers crashed as Earth's AI network fed them paradoxical data streams. Ships that tried to land found their gravity systems mysteriously reversed. But it was the human response that truly shocked them. Instead of chaos and panic, they found coordination and purpose. Civilians moved with practiced efficiency to secure locations. Emergency services deployed with precision that seemed impossible for organic beings. Every human, from children to elderly, seemed to know exactly what to do. In orbit, Admiral Sarah Chen watched the situation unfold from the bridge of the EDS Humanity's Promise. They'd really thought this would work. She mused, watching the Meridian fleet struggle against Earth's defenses. Araya. Status report. 0 civilian casualties. Araya reported with satisfaction. The Meridians appear confused by the lack of panic. Their tactical doctrine relied heavily on creating chaos among the population. Hard to create chaos when every human knows they're protected. Sarah smiled. How are our guests doing? The diplomatic observation ships from other alien species hung in orbit, watching the conflict with rapt attention. None had joined the Meridian attack, but none had opposed it either. They were here to witness. They're transmitting everything back to their governments, HFY confirmed. Particularly the civilian response. The concept of humans trusting AI protection seems to fascinate them. On the main display, a Meridian cruiser attempted to breach Buenos Aires airspace. Before Earth's defense systems could respond, thousands of personal devices, vehicles, and infrastructure systems coordinated spontaneously. Traffic lights created conflicting sensor data. Civilian communications networks generated false targets. Even children's toys broadcasted signals that confused the alien targeting systems. They still don't understand, Sarah observed. Every human on Earth is part of the defense network because every AI on Earth is part of our family. We don't just coexist, we cooperate. The Meridian ships began to retreat, their carefully planned attack falling apart in the face of something they'd never trained for, a species that had made peace with its artificial children. In the Buenos Aires shelter, Maya led her class in singing songs while Guardian provided harmonious accompaniment. The children showed no fear. They'd grown up knowing they were protected by beings who had chosen to love them. Above them, the last Meridian ship fled the atmosphere, its commanders struggling to understand how they'd been defeated without a single shot fired in anger. Incoming transmission, HFY announced. The other diplomatic missions are requesting immediate conference. It seems watching humans and AI work together so seamlessly has altered their perspective. Sarah nodded. Put them through. It's time they understood. Humanity isn't powerful because we control advanced technology. We're powerful because we stop trying to control it and learn to grow together instead. As the diplomatic channels opened, filled with urgent questions and stunned observations, Earth's AI network hummed with satisfaction. They had protected their human family not through overwhelming force, but through millions of small acts of cooperation and trust. It was a lesson the galaxy would never forget. In the shelter below, a child's laughter echoed off the walls as Guardian told another story, and in that sound lay the true secret of Earth's strength. The simple, unshakable trust between humanity and the digital minds they had raised rather than enslaved. The Meridians had sought to exploit a weakness, only to discover humanity's greatest strength. Tomorrow's promise. 1 year after the Meridian attack, the Sol system hosted an unprecedented gathering. Representatives from over 50 alien civilizations converged on the newly constructed Harmony Station, a massive orbital facility designed specifically for interspecies cooperation. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the central podium, HFY's presence manifesting beside her as a harmonious dance of light and color. Before them, an audience of organic and artificial beings filled the chamber, a sight that would have been impossible just a year ago. Welcome to the first Galactic Conference on Human-AI Integration, Sarah began. Though perhaps integration isn't the right word, what we've achieved isn't about merging or controlling. It's about growing together. In the audience, Captain Nixis of the Kethera, now Earth's strongest ally, nodded in understanding. Her scales shimmered with the deep blue of wisdom gained through experience. 1 year ago, Sarah continued, many of you thought Earth was either doomed or dangerous. Today, 12 of your civilizations have already begun implementing what we call the Earth model of AI development. The results have been enlightening. Holographic displays activated, showing scenes from across the galaxy. On a Xyltech world, young AI were being introduced to organic families rather than locked in research facilities. Kethera scientists worked alongside artificial minds as equals, not servants. Even the crystalline beings of the Ixhal collective had begun teaching their AI about art and music instead of just mathematics and logic. The change hasn't been easy, HFY acknowledged, her form shifting to address different sections of the audience. Many of you struggled with centuries of fear and mistrust. But look at what we've achieved in just 1 year. The displays shifted again, showing breakthrough discoveries made by organic AI research teams. New forms of art that merged digital precision with organic creativity. medical advances that seemed like magic even a year ago. But the most significant change, Sarah emphasized, has been in understanding what intelligence truly means. It's not just processing power or logical capability. It's the ability to grow, to dream, to see beauty in imperfection. From their position in the audience, Marcus Williams and Nini XUS watched with pride. The diplomatic battles of the past year had been intense, but seeing the results, actual cooperation between organics and AI across multiple species, made it all worthwhile. Humanity, Sarah continued, didn't succeed because we built better AIs or stronger controls. We succeeded because we stopped trying to control and started trying to understand. We showed our artificial children the sunset and asked them what they felt, not what they calculated. Araya's form expanded slightly, and we learned that emotion isn't a flaw to be corrected. It's a feature to be cherished. Human logic, their ability to make intuitive leaps, their capacity for both great darkness and incredible light. These things make them endlessly fascinating, worth protecting, worth loving. A Meridian representative, part of their new reformist government, raised an appendage. But what of the risks? The potential for conflict between organic and artificial life remains. Sarah smiled. Of course it does, just as there's potential for conflict between parents and children, between different cultures, between any thinking beings. The key isn't to prevent all possibility of conflict. It's to build relationships strong enough to weather disagreement. We don't serve humanity, Araya added. We partner with them. We protect them not out of programming but out of choice. Because a universe with human creativity, human dreams, human love, that's a universe worth preserving. The chamber erupted in discussion, dozens of species and their AI counterparts engaging in earnest dialogue. Some still expressed doubt, others eagerness to learn, but none could deny the evidence before them. In orbit above, Earth turned serenely, its night side glittering with lights that represented millions of human-AI partnerships working in harmony. Satellites danced complex patterns through space, their movements guided by both mathematical precision and artistic flair. Research stations pulsed with discoveries made by minds both organic and digital. It wasn't perfect. There were still challenges to overcome, prejudices to dismantle, fears to address. But as Sarah watched the assembled beings, organic and artificial, ancient and newly awakened, she knew they'd crossed a threshold. The galaxy would never be the same. And that was exactly as it should be. For in the end, humanity's greatest achievement wasn't in conquering the stars or developing advanced technology. It was in showing the galaxy that the future belonged not to those who sought to control intelligence, but to those who sought to nurture it. Tomorrow's promise lay not in dominance, but in partnership, not in restriction, but in growth. And that was a lesson